It starts with a flicker, the Wi-Fi buffering 1 second before the movie's climax, the shopping cart with the one squeaky, defiant wheel that refuses to go straight, the driver who merges without signaling, as if you're invisible. It's a tiny spark of annoyance. Then it catches, it becomes a fire, that white-hot rage that floods your brain, tenses your shoulders, and clenches your jaw. Suddenly, the world isn't working, your plans are ruined, and you are completely, utterly, justifiably furious. We've all been there. It feels primal, uncontrollable, like a storm inside your own head that you just have to ride out. But what if it isn't? What if the very thing you think defends you is actually the thing that controls you? What if the most powerful man in the ancient world, a Roman emperor facing plague, war, and betrayal, forged a mental toolkit to master that rage? We put this 2,000-year-old philosophy to the ultimate test in the most infuriating situations of modern life. Do these ancient ideas still work? Let's find out. Imagine being the most powerful person on Earth. Every choice you make impacts millions. Barbarian tribes are invading your borders, a plague is decimating your people, and your most trusted general betrays you, declaring himself emperor. This was the world of Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king of the Roman Empire. He had every reason to be the angriest man alive, and he had the power to act on that anger with total impunity. He could have had his enemies executed and his critics silenced. And yet, he became known for his almost inhuman calm. How? While some ancient thinkers, like Aristotle, believed anger could be useful if channeled correctly, the Stoics, like Marcus, saw it differently. Locked away in his tent on the frontier, Marcus Aurelius wasn't just writing battle plans. He was writing to himself, documenting a series of mental strategies for survival in a book we now call the Meditations. He saw anger not as a strength, but as a weakness. He wrote, "How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it. To him, rage was a form of self-harm. It was like drinking poison and expecting your enemy to die." The core of his practice wasn't a complex doctrine. It was a simple, profound mental shift. He realized our anger doesn't come from an event itself, but from our judgment about the event. It's not the driver cutting you off that makes you angry. It's the story you immediately tell yourself. They disrespected me. They think their time is more important. They're a bad person. The ancient wisdom lies in challenging that story. Specifically, Marcus trained himself to see ignorance, not malice. He wrote, "When people injure you, ask yourself what good or harm they thought would come of it. If you understand that, you'll feel sympathy rather than outrage or anger." In that brief pause, the space another Stoic, Seneca, called the greatest remedy for anger, you ask a different question. What if they aren't evil, just mistaken? What if they aren't malicious, but just ignorant of what's good and right? This shift from assuming malice to considering ignorance is the key. It moves you from personal injury to objective observation. It stops the fire before it consumes you. But can this ancient mindset stand a chance against the absurdities of the 21st century? We decided to put it to the test. Section 1, the modern experiment, the traffic tyrant. First up, the modern Colosseum of rage, the morning commute. You're in the correct lane, patiently waiting for your exit. You've been in line for 10 minutes. Suddenly, a luxury SUV blasts down the shoulder, cutting in front of 20 other cars at the last second. The first reaction? It's instant, a surge of adrenaline. The horn sounds before you even realize you've pressed it. The internal story begins. Who does this person think they are? The entitlement, the disrespect. Your blood pressure spikes. The story is clear. This is a selfish villain who has personally wronged you. Now for the Stoic pause. Pause. Instead of laying on the horn, force a moment of quiet, a single deep breath. Reframe. Let's apply the Aurelian Principle. Assume ignorance. not malice. What else could be happening? Possibility 1. The driver is from out of town, completely lost, and terrified of missing a crucial turn for an emergency. They aren't being arrogant, they're panicking. Their map app just screamed, "Turn now," and they reacted. Possibility 2. It's a medical emergency. The person in the passenger seat could be in labor or having a severe allergic reaction. Their aggressive driving isn't about entitlement, it's desperation. Possibility 3. They are simply a terrible, distracted driver. They aren't trying to disrespect you, they barely notice you exist. They're so lost in their own world, a phone call, a stressful thought, that their awareness has totally collapsed. They aren't malicious, just hopelessly, negligently ignorant. In that small window of time, the narrative shifts. The burning personal feeling of being wronged starts to cool. You haven't excused their behavior. Cutting the line is still wrong. But you've successfully detached your emotional state from their action. The anger was tied to the story of a villain. By introducing doubt, you sever that tie. The result? Your shoulders relax, the grip on the steering wheel loosens. You don't feel happy, but you feel neutral, calm. Now you can make a rational choice. Do you leave a safe following distance? Yes. Do you let it ruin your morning? No. You've taken back control. The Emperor's wisdom just defeated road rage. Section 2. The modern experiment. The credit-stealing colleague. Next, we move from anonymous rage to something far more personal, professional betrayal. You've worked for weeks on a critical project. It's your idea, your labor. The big meeting arrives. You're at the table, and a senior colleague starts presenting, but they're presenting your slides, weaving your key insights and phrases into their narrative, barely giving you a nod. They are taking credit for your work right in front of the people who decide your future. The feeling is sickening, a hot pang of outrage in your chest. The story is immediate. They're a snake. They're trying to sabotage my career to advance their own. Your mind races with everything you want to say. Your face flushes, your heart pounds, you're trapped. Speaking up feels risky, staying silent feels like a violation of your self-worth. Let's deploy the Stoic pause. Pause, fight the impulse to start drafting a furious email in your head. Breathe, don't react, just observe, reframe, challenge the story of malicious intent. What else could be going on? Possibility 1. They are deeply insecure. They're terrified of looking incompetent. In their panic, they latched onto your good ideas not to steal from you, but as a lifeline to save themselves. Their action isn't a sign of cunning, it's a sign of profound professional fear. They aren't trying to bury you, they're trying to stay afloat. Possibility 2. Their understanding of teamwork is just broken. Maybe they genuinely believe all work belongs to the collective, to be presented by the most senior person. They may honestly have no clue they're violating a sacred line of individual contribution. It's not malice, it's professional ignorance. Possibility 3. They honestly forgot. In the rush to prepare, they integrated your notes and their brain simply recategorized the work as their own. It's a known psychological phenomenon called cryptomnesia, unintentional plagiarism. It's a failure of their memory, not their character. Again, this isn't about letting them off the hook. Justice still needs to be pursued, but the mental flip serves a crucial strategic purpose. It dissolves the hot-headed anger and replaces it with a cool, clear-eyed assessment. The feeling of being a victim is replaced by the feeling of being a strategist. Anger would have told you to lash out. Clarity gives you options. Now you can calmly plan your move. Perhaps it's a quiet conversation after the meeting. I was really proud of the work I did on X and Y, so I was surprised it was presented that way. Can we talk about how we can better highlight contributions next time? An approach born from calm is infinitely more powerful than an outburst born from rage. You are no longer a puppet of your emotions. Section 3. The modern experiment, the futility of customer service. Our final test, the labyrinth of the automated customer service phone tree. Your internet has been out for 6 hours. You have a deadline. You call your provider and the madness begins. Press 1 for billing. Press 2 for technical support. You press 2. Please enter your 16-digit account number. You do it. Now, in a few words, describe your call. You say, "My internet is down." The robot replies, "Sorry, I didn't get that. Did you say update payment method?" The rage begins as a low hum. After 15 minutes of this, you're finally put on hold. The tinny looping music is an assault on your sanity. The estimated wait time is 45 minutes. This anger is unique. It's not at a person, but at a faceless, broken system. The story is one of powerlessness. They don't care. This company is designed to make you give up. My problem is meaningless. This feeling of helplessness is a potent fuel for fury. Time for the emperor's wisdom. Pause. Before you smash the phone, stop. Take a breath. Recognize the rising tide of futile anger. Reframe. Assume ignorance, not malice. But here, the ignorance is systemic. Possibility 1. This system wasn't designed by a malevolent genius. It was likely designed by a committee, constrained by budgets, trying to solve a huge logistical problem and failing. It's a product of corporate incompetence, not psychological warfare. The system is dumb, not evil. Possibility 2. The agent you might eventually speak to isn't your enemy. They are likely underpaid, undertrained, and following a rigid script. They're a fellow victim of the same broken system. Possibility 3. Your anger, no matter how intense, has zero effect on this system. Screaming at the robot won't make it understand you. Losing your temper with the human agent won't magically fix the network. In this case, anger is the most useless tool you have. It's like trying to fix a software bug by yelling at the monitor. This reframe is profoundly liberating. It detaches your self-worth from the outcome. The initial story was, "This system is insulting me." The new story is, "This is a poorly designed system and I must navigate it strategically." The anger dissolves into detached pragmatism. What's the best way forward? Maybe it's waiting on hold while you do something else. Maybe it's hanging up and trying another contact method. Maybe it's realizing you can't solve this now and heading to a coffee shop. In all 3 experiments, the ancient wisdom worked. It didn't solve the external problem. The person still cut you off. The colleague still took credit. The internet was still down. But it solved the internal problem. It extinguished the destructive fire of anger and gave you back the one thing that truly matters: control over your own mind. Section 4. The deeper wisdom, the architect of your mind. The reason this mental shift is so powerful is that it's a gateway to a fundamental Stoic idea, the dichotomy of control. This principle, most famously articulated by the philosopher Epictetus, states that some things are within our control and some are not. Within our control are our own thoughts, judgments, and actions. Outside of our control is, well, almost everything else. Other people's actions, their opinions, traffic, and whether your internet provider has an outage. The Stoics believed that nearly all our frustration comes from confusing these 2 categories. We get angry when we try to control things that are fundamentally uncontrollable. When you scream at traffic, you're acting as if your rage can change the reality of the cars around you. It can't. The mental reframe is a practical, in-the-moment training exercise for the dichotomy of control. When you pause and shift from "they are maliciously attacking me" to "they are acting from ignorance," you are reminding yourself, their action is outside my control, but my response is entirely within it. This is why Seneca wrote, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." That pause is where your freedom lies. It is the space between the trigger and your response. In that space, you have the power to choose the old, automatic story of rage or a new, deliberate story of calm. Practicing this isn't about being a pushover, it's the exact opposite. Anger makes you a slave to circumstance. Every little annoyance can jerk your chain and dictate your emotional state. True strength, as Marcus Aurelius understood, is maintaining your inner calm, your inner citadel, regardless of the chaos outside. A calm mind is a strong mind, one that can see clearly, think strategically, and act effectively. Over time, practicing this simple shift rewires your brain. Each time you transform potential rage into calm observation, you strengthen that mental muscle. It becomes your new default. You start to see frustrating people not as enemies, but as opportunities to practice your own patience, understanding, and self-control. 2,000 years ago, a Roman emperor, under immense pressure, realized that our feelings are not automatic. They are choices. He learned that it's not external events that upset us, but our opinions about them. The most powerful weapon in his arsenal wasn't his legions. It was the ability to pause, reframe, and choose a better story. He chose to see ignorance over malice and calm over chaos. We've seen how this ancient mental toolkit holds up against the infuriating trials of modern life. This isn't about suppressing anger. It's about understanding it as a signal, a fire alarm telling you that your initial judgment might be flawed. As Marcus Aurelius noted, anger often does us more harm than the things we're angry about. It clouds our judgment and hands control of our inner peace to other people. The power to master anger is not magic, it is a skill. It is the choice to insert a deliberate pause between a trigger and your reaction. It's the choice to question your first story. It is the choice to take back control of your own mind. So here is your challenge. The next time you feel that flicker of anger, try it. Pause, take one deep breath and ask yourself, is it really malice or could it just be ignorance? See for yourself if this 2,000-year-old wisdom can change your world. If this idea resonated with you, and you want to continue this journey of applying ancient wisdom to modern problems, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And let us know in the comments, what is the most infuriating modern situation you face? Let's discuss how the emperor's wisdom might apply. Thank you for watching.